Today, we explore how this date completely reshaped our world across five powerful dimensions: culture, education, finance, politics, and technology. This day proves that history never rests. Let's dive into the fascinating interconnected events of this date that continue to influence how we live, think, and innovate today. So, without much further ado, let's go.
In 1898, the Spanish and American militaries fought this brutal, highly publicized battle for control of Manila. But the only problem, the entire thing was completely fake.
Yeah, completely staged.
Right. So welcome to this deep dive, where we're exploring our stack of sources centered around one bizarrely consequential date, which is August 13th.
It really is a fascinating date.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this for you, because looking at what happens on this specific day across the centuries, it reveals this massive hidden story about how empires rise, fall, and, desperately try to control the flow of information.
Well, let's start with just raw physical power.
Right.
Like on August 13th, 1521, Tenochtitlan fell to Hernan Cortez.
Right. The end of the Aztec Empire.
Exactly. That was a violent, definitive collapse. But as history marches on, military dominance becomes less about pure force and, well, more about logistics and information.
So true.
Look at August 13th, 1704, the Battle of Blenheim. It was this massive Allied victory that completely reshaped European politics and accelerated the Anglo-Scottish Union. But
But reading through the historical accounts, the wildest part isn't even the battlefield tactics, right?
no, it's the aftermath.
Yeah, the news of this huge geopolitical earthquake took 8 full days to reach London.
Right, because, a messenger literally had to ride a horse to the coast, sail across the channel. When a nation's fate depends on the speed of a galloping horse, you have a critical vulnerability.
Which brings us back to that fake battle in Manila on August 13th, 1898. Like, how do two warring nations coordinate a fake fight without the rank-and-file soldiers finding out?
Well, they quietly negotiate the terms beforehand. The Spanish military knew they were beaten.
But formally surrendering to Filipino revolutionaries was just, out of the question.
Yeah, it was considered way too humiliating. So they coordinated this mock battle with the Americans. They fired at, prearranged empty targets, hoisted a white flag, and then the Americans just marched in to take control.
It's basically the 1898 equivalent of a rigged reality TV show.
Yeah, produced entirely to manipulate the public narrative. It marked the start of American colonization in the Philippines, but it was essentially just a transfer of empire disguised as combat.
And when you look at that alongside the 8-day mail delay from 1704, it perfectly highlights how vital information flow is. I mean, if information is power, access to that information dictates who rules.
Which completely shifts the battlefield from physical territory to the minds of the public. Take a letter written on August 13th, 1786.
Oh, the Jefferson letter.
Right, from Thomas Jefferson to George Wythe. What's fascinating here is Jefferson's insistence that the diffusion of knowledge through public education is the only sure foundation for preserving freedom.
Because he argued that you can't just trust leaders to do the right thing.
Exactly. You must arm the citizens with information so they can recognize and resist tyranny.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We go from Jefferson's philosophical dream of access to the gritty technological reality a century later. On August 13th, 1889, an inventor named William Gray patents the coin-operated payphone.
And the backstory there is wild. He was furious that a local factory owner refused to let him use a private telephone to call a doctor for his sick wife.
Wow.
Yeah, Gray realized that this revolutionary communication network was locked behind this massive wealth barrier.
I actually see the payphone as the 19th century equivalent of public Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Because before William Gray, you had to be wealthy enough to own the physical infrastructure. Suddenly, instant connection to a global network just costs a coin. You didn't need to own the network to use it.
But, the moment you democratize communication like that, authorities tend to panic.
Oh, absolutely.
As we enter the 20th century, August 13th shifts from opening communication to actively sabotaging it. During the Battle of Warsaw, which kicked off around August 13th, 1920, the Poles pulled off the miracle at the Vistula against the Soviets.
Right.
But they didn't just intercept Russian ciphers, they actively jammed them.
Wait, how do you actually jam a radio signal in 1920?
By finding the exact frequency the Soviet commanders were using to broadcast orders and blasting the Book of Genesis read aloud in Latin over that exact same frequency.
That is amazing. So the Soviet receivers just picked up a priest reading the Bible.
Yes, completely drowning out the military commands. They weaponized information by making it impossible to hear. But this raises an important question. What happens when a government realizes it can't just jam the signal and is entirely losing control of its population?
Well, they build a literal cage. August 13th, 1961, the East German government suddenly rolls out barbed wire across Berlin in the middle of the night.
The birth of the Berlin Wall.
Right.
East Germany was hemorrhaging its most educated, skilled workforce to the West. They couldn't win the ideological war of information, so their solution was a physical barrier to trap human capital inside.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this today? If you look at the arc of August 13th, it captures our endless struggle over connection.
Yeah, we are always inventing new ways to share knowledge.
Exactly, whether it's public education or the payphone. And authorities are always trying to build walls or, broadcast Latin to block it.
It's the eternal tug-of-war between breaking ciphers and building barricades.
Leaving us with this final thought. If a single random date in history can contain the fall of the Aztecs, the first payphone, and the barbed wire of the Cold War, what massive, invisible historical ripples are happening today, right now, that we won't even recognize for another 100 years?
Hi viewers, family and friends. How did you like the content of this video? Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please write in the comments your name and the place you are watching from. Since our viewing family is spread all over the world, it will be nice to know which city and the country you are watching from, so I can say hello to you. Science and technology. Reading and listening to the historical accomplishments on this date of those who have gone before us, I, as a professional engineer with interest in structural engineering, energy-efficient buildings, ICF construction, and as Google Docs expert with interest in spreadsheet-based solutions, draw inspiration to ask of myself the million-dollar question. What would I accomplish today? Think about the Japanese practice of Kaizen. Let me know in the comments, what would you accomplish today? Your subscribing to the channel inspires me to post more such videos. Thanks for your patronage. See you in the next video. Sincerely, Yogi Anand.